And we'll have more on the provincial election later in the show with our election panel. This week's topic, employment and minimum wage. That's coming up for you at 6:30.
I'm a part-time library technician. I love my job and I enjoy working with the students. I receive almost 50% less than my co-worker who are part-time, full-time. It's not fair that you do the same job and you receive 50% less than the people that who are doing the same job. I believe in equal wage for equal work. I will be able to do more things that I was not able to do before. For example, I can take more vacation. I am Asuma Abdullahian, and this is my election story.
If you make minimum wage, you could have more money in your pocket depending on who wins next month's election. The Liberals and the NDP want to raise the hourly rate to $15. Doug Ford has said he'd freeze it, promising zero income tax instead. I spoke to an advocate for workers and the head of a business lobby group about how they feel about a minimum wage hike.
It's a blunt instrument that doesn't take into account that not everywhere is Toronto, and $14 here is not the same as 14 in Elliott Lake, and yet a small and mid-sized business with a few employees suddenly has their costs increased by 21%. The vast majority of businesses are not billionaires with private jets heading down to numbered accounts in Panama. They're your neighbors. They're people who are trying to build some independence for themselves and are creating jobs for people in their community.
The $14, is that not just a basic living wage then, or no?
Well, it's actually not even up to the poverty line anywhere in Ontario. And it's interesting because what we found when the minimum wage is actually increased, it actually helps to expand the economy, and small business owners regularly report that they have more income because when workers have more money in their pocket, they're able to spend their money in local economies.
No, it's ridiculous, because by that logic, then we should give everyone $100 and it'll create a spiral of wealth for everyone. You have to create.
A lot from people.
You have to create.
Money in their pocket,
well, look at. We lost 50,000 jobs in the first month that this was enacted. 50,000 jobs disappeared in January, and another several thousand declined again this month, when it was expected that we were going to be adding 17,000. Instead, there was a further contraction. So unemployment has gone up. Businesses are being hurt. Confidence levels are down to some of the lowest levels that we've ever recorded. The very people we're looking to help, or that Pam would like to help, are actually going to be harmed by this. Minimum wage is a blunt instrument. There is no question that income supports are required for those at the lowest end so that they're not left behind.
Okay, Pam.
Well, that just simply isn't accurate. Yes, there was a small contraction in part-time jobs, but they were more than offset in full-time jobs. And we also need to know that where there was a contraction in the part-time jobs, it was not in those sectors of the economy that rely on minimum wage earners. In fact, in those sectors of the economy, like retail and hospitality, there was a net increase in jobs in those sectors of the economy. And in fact, the data shows that the unemployment rate is actually going down in Ontario, hours worked are going up. And I'd also just like to say on the issue of the tax cuts that Doug Ford is promising, we should know that already for those who earn less than $30,000 a year, 2/3, that's over 3 million people, already don't pay tax. So to suggest that we're going to, give you tax savings while you forgo your wage increase is disingenuous. So for minimum wage earners, by far the better deal is to raise the minimum wage to $15.
So, Rocco, we're hearing from Pam about trying to support workers. Small businesses also need support, right? Because they employ these workers. What do we then need to do to support small businesses in this province?
Look, every year tens of thousands of small businesses go out of business. And when that happens, the people who are founding those businesses, they lose their savings. They've often mortgaged what assets they had to do it. Again, these are not people with enormous margins to play with. They're not the banks, they're not insurance companies, and there are very few people, if any, who get minimum wage within the banking world. So it is the job engine, and those people are looking at their hydro costs, they're looking at rapid increase in labor costs that is simply, they're simply not able to absorb all at once without cutting back hours, cutting back the numbers of employees. This is what we're hearing from our 60,000 members.
We know it makes sense for small business owners to invest in their staff because they need to avoid the high turnover that goes along with the poor quality jobs. They know that their staff are their ambassadors, and that's why the majority of small business owners actually not only support the increase in the minimum wage, but already pay more. And in fact, the data shows
60,000 businesses, and I'm telling you,
we can
could be here all afternoon talking about this, but we have to stop it somewhere. I thank you both for your time. And you know what? We get to make a decision on these issues at the ballot box, right? I want you two to shake hands too.
Thank you very much.